YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Nigel coming back at y'all with yet another video. And yes, today you saw the title, Avoid Debt Like the Plague. Let's get into it. Now for some background information, the American household debt has hit a whopping total of 14.6 trillion in spring 2021. This is split by 340 million people, and I guarantee you might be in the mix. Now with all this money being borrowed, sometimes it seems like a little bit enticing to say, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna just borrow with them. Nothing's wrong with it. It almost becomes the norm, and I guarantee you, if you want to hit your financial goals and eventually become financially free, this is the last thing that you want to do. We need to stop following the mold. And I'm going to tell you all exactly why and how we're going to do this. One of the reasons why is debt encourages you to spend more than you actually make. Now, here's an example. So let's say, for instance, you want to buy a car, right? You say you see the nice Mercedes Benz, it's worth $60,000, but you actually only make $50,000 annually. Now, at face value, that doesn't seem like a good idea at all. I mean, buying a car more than your actual annual income, it makes no sense. But you go to the car dealership and they say, you know what? It's okay. We got you. All you got to do is go into debt, make these payments for 8 years, and you can be riding in this brand new 2022 Benz. It's a trap. The car companies, they want to get you. All they care about is their statements, their money. They're not caring about the financial situation that they're putting you in. You need to be very wary of this when you're actually getting into debt. I'm going to get into the good types of debt. Sometimes it is a good reason to actually pull out debt, and the bad types of debt. But for the most part, when you're looking at debt, you want to avoid any type of liability that you're about to buy. So let's say a car, you want to buy a car is going to depreciate. It's not going to do anything for you. You want to stay away from that. If you get a credit card, that's encouraging you to spend more than you can actually make. So don't do that as well, because it's just encouraging you to spend money that you're not actually earning. You want to avoid anything that's going to put you in a bad situation. Now, I know when you look at financial videos like Dave Ramsey and everything, he tells you that having certain types of debt or all types of debt is bad. But I'm going to tell you one thing, I totally disagree with him. Now, the only way I would see a good situation for you getting in debt is to leverage your way up in the world. And what I mean by this is, let's say you don't have education, you don't have any skill. One of the ways to increase your income is to actually get a skill. But a lot of times to get skills, you need to actually pay for it. And a lot of times people can't afford that, so they go into debt. So let's say you want an engineering degree. I'm going to get my engineering degree. So you want an engineering degree. It costs $30,000 to go to school for 4 years, but at the end of the day, it's going to increase your income by, let's say, $70,000, which is absolutely crazy. If you're making like $30,000, you get $70,000 increase. This is going to impact your life a lot. It might be reasonable for you to go into debt right there. I would also suggest, even though you would do that, try to find alternate ways to avoid it by getting scholarships, seeing the grants out there that they have, anything you can do, maybe working extra shifts. But if it comes down to it and you don't have enough time to do it, I would say there's nothing wrong with it, and then you could just pay it off later. Now, I want to emphasize this as well, because I almost forgot, but I want to emphasize that getting a skill and getting a good return on investment for it versus getting a skill and overpaying for it are two totally different things. I see so many scenarios where people are going to school out of state. They'll go to California or something, and then they'll have to pay $100,000 for tuition. They get into huge debt, and they end up getting like a basket weaving degree. That's not okay. If you're paying too much for school, make sure that you actually look at the payments, see if it's reasonable, see what the salaries are of the career that you're actually looking for to get, see if it's actually payable, the amount. I mean, I know some people, you're a surgeon or something, you're getting paid $400,000 a year. Okay, if you go into $200,000 worth of debt, it might not look as bad. But if you're getting a business degree and you're talking about you want to go to California to go to an Ivy League and pay $200,000 to actually get into the school with that's not okay. You need to make sure that you equate the skill to actually what you want to get. Now, another reason what I would see is acceptable to actually get into debt is actually buying a house. Now, today in this world, it's 2022. A regular house price is like $400,000. That's absolutely unattainable for a lot of people to have liquid cash of $400,000 and to put it down on a house. It's just absolutely unreasonable. But what I would suggest is, even though you might not be able to afford it in total, I would say to make sure that you live within your means as well. So that means not listening to the loan companies and actually following what will be best for you. Now, a lot of people say that buying a house that's at least 25% and nothing more of your take-home pay is a good rule of thumb. So just make sure you follow. Obviously, you can change the variables if you know you have less debt or you have more debt. But overall, you need to do the calculations yourself and to see what you can actually afford versus what they're approving you for. Because if you just go off of what they're approving you for, you're going to get yourself in a sticky situation with this debt, and you're going to be house poor, or you're going to be car poor, or whatever type of debt that you're getting into. Now, millennials aged 24 to 39 having an average of $78,000 worth of debt. Gen Xers having an average of $135,000 worth of debt, age 40 to 55. And boomers, the boomers, age 56 to 74, having an average debt of $96,000. As you can see, America absolutely runs on debt. But what I want to point out to y'all guys is that from Gen X to boomers is the first time we see a decrease in the average debt, which means the average person isn't even decreasing their debt until they're 55 years old, which is absolutely crazy. And you want to get out of the mold. So what I'm going to do now is give y'all some tips on how you can get out of debt a little bit faster. The first tip is don't get into debt. If you can avoid it by any means necessary, don't get into debt. I think like the most like unavoidable one is probably the house. So I'd say like that's the only one acceptable. But if you could afford to pay for your car in full, you could afford to not max out your credit cards and start paying interest on them. If you can, make sure you do that. It will make a huge impact and it'll help you get financially ahead extremely fast, and you'll be way ahead of the people that are your age. Now, if you're in debt, I'm going to take y'all back to the basics. We're going to the Dave Ramsey steps. So what I want y'all to do is measure out your debts from smallest to largest. Start paying off the smallest, knock it off, get that interest out the way. And then the second smallest, knock that one out, get the interest out the way. And then as you go on, you're going to get to the biggest debt. And then after that, with your biggest debt will probably be your house. You knock that out and you're good to go. But what you need to do when you're doing this is you have to make sure that you're doing this with some intent. Make sure that you're doing this right. Make sure that you're being strict with your budget and everything. Making sure that you're saving every dollar so you can actually put it towards your debt and get out faster. Because if you do get out faster, it's going to make a huge impact. And I'm telling you, it's going to free up income. You can start investing. Investing early is always better because you can accrue more money over time due to compound interest. So if you do that and you do all these tips and you avoid that, you'll be one step closer to being financially free. So I appreciate y'all for watching the video. Make sure if you like the video, hit the like button. Make sure you like my content. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'm coming out with more content every single week, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post a video. I appreciate y'all for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.